All right, welcome back everybody. Corey here. Now we are going to be going over chapter 12 out of our lovely book, How to Stay Young by Christian D. Larson. What the prophet has dreamed, the scientist will prove to be true. So, without further ado, chapter 12, live for the purpose of advancement, attainment, and achievement. For we know that the advancing life is the happy life. And when a man knows that he is advancing, he will cease to grow old, and he will forever be young. So, to live the life of continuous advancement is to enter into the conscious possession of more and more life, and the perpetual increase of life is one of the fundamental essentials for the perpetuation of youth. It is not possible for the aging process to gain a foothold in the human system so long as there is an increase of life, because the body begins to grow old only when it begins to lose life. The losing of life is produced by the multitude of causes. In brief, every violation of the laws of mind or body will decrease the power of human life, but the principal essential to the perpetual increase of life is to live directly for the purpose of continuous advancement. The continuous advancement of the personality into more and more life will not only perpetuate youth, but will also prolong personal existence. The reason being that the length of personal existence depends directly upon the amount of stored up life energy with which every cell in the personality is supplied. Now it's very interesting that he says that, and I'm going to read that again. He says, the reason being that the length of personal existence depends directly upon the amount of stored up life energy with which every cell in the personality is supplied. To constantly recharge every cell in the human system with life energy is to cause the system to continue to live as an organized form. Now it's very interesting because even in the Master Key system, he talks about the body, the physical portion of man, and how we even have our life in the sustainer of the physical life, which is air, air and water, and also food. And likewise with the spiritual man, that the spiritual man also has his source from some type of life that reaches down and endows him with life. They call it life only from life. And it's very interesting that we're talking about this because the analogy that Charles uses in the Master Key system, he talks about the plant that is still in the seed, that the plant will still be in the seed and remain in the seed until, let's say if water, for example, the life of water reaches down that seed and will cause that seed to stir up, to grow, to be caught, to set actions in motion for that seed to germinate and to break out of its shell. And then in turn, as that plant begins to grow, it becomes its own living entity. And then as the roots of that plant reaches down into the soil, it will begin to endow life into the soil and into the rocks. It talks about this in the Master Key system, and likewise with us. Human beings are, without mind, we'd be nothing. We'd be dead. We wouldn't. There would be no life to live through life. There would be no life passing through another form of life, or there would be nothing if this life force didn't exist. There would be no life to give life to all of life. I know that made sense to you. To constantly recharge every cell in the human system with life energy is to cause the system to continue to live as an organized form, because it is not possible for death to take place where there is an abundance of life. And this abundance of life will be given to the personality as long as the individual continues to advance into more and more life. To promote continuous advancement into more and more life, the first essential is to live directly for the purpose of advancement. Every object in view must be larger and greater than what the present has realized, and every action that takes place in the human system must have enlargement, expansion, and ascension as the ruling tendencies to its power. To live for a definite purpose in regard to attainment and achievement is necessary. It is only through higher attainments and greater achievements that the law of continuous advancement can be promoted. Therefore, the desire to become much and achieve much must inspire the life of every atom in him who has resolved to perpetuate his youth. The desire to become much and achieve much must be so strong that it is constantly felt in every fiber as an irresistible power, and it must never cease in its action. The mind must picture itself as living perpetually in the life of action, growth, attainment, and achievement, and no thought whatever must be given to future retirement from active life. The future should remain in the hands of the future, to live an active life now, and to continue to live an active life now should be the one purpose to engage the whole of attention. And Wallace D. Wattles mentions that same concept in the science of getting rich, that we need to do today's work today, and to do the work that needs to be done today now, and we must not work in the past for we can't work in the future, because if we try to work in the future without doing today's work now, there's going to be a disconnect. It's like you're trying to do work from here when you're still over here, because you have to do this portion first because you can reach this part. Do what's in front of you and do today's work now. To think of retiring from active life is to think of inactivity, and when the mind begins to think of inactivity, the life of growth will be suspended. When man ceases to grow, he begins to grow old. But he cannot possibly grow old so long as he continues to grow. This growth, however, must be alive through the entire personality and must aim to perfect the body and develop the mind. To promote this growth, the mind should be alive with interest in all growing life and should cooperate consciously with all growth, advancement, and progress. When this cooperation becomes a part of personal existence, the spirit of advancement can be felt in every part of the system. And when every atom feels advancement, every atom will advance. The advancement of every atom in the system will promote the improvement of every function, faculty, and quality in personal life, providing the mind is working constructively for the attainment of every possible state of improvement. And so long as everything in body, mind, and soul is being constantly improved, age will not appear. The conditions of age are inseparably connected with inaction and retrogression. Therefore, so long as the personality is absolutely full of action and progress, it cannot grow old. It will continue to stay young. To promote eternal progress in the whole of man will perpetuate youth in the whole of man. The true significance of eternal progress is applied to the individual life of man, is that state of being wherein every atom, every active force, every function, every faculty, every talent, and every power, in brief, wherein everything that is alive in the personality is constantly improving upon its own life, action, and purpose, the accumulation of consciousness. To follow the law of eternal progress, everything in the human system must act for the purpose of acting better, and it is evident that nothing can deteriorate, grow old, and decay that is constantly improving upon the life, the power, and the efficiency of its own action. To act for the purpose of acting better is to become better. It is to promote the very fundamental law of development, and where development is constant, age is impossible, because growth will not cease. The development of the mind implies the expansion of consciousness, the enlargement of the intellect, the refinement of the mental qualities, and the increased efficiency of mental action. The development of the body implies the perfecting of the form, the refinement of physical sensation, the increase of the power of personal expression, the improvement of the quality of the cell structures, the increased efficiency and functional activity, and the improvement of the personality as an instrument of the mind. That is just absolutely amazing. These phases of development in mind and body may all be promoted by training the life of the individual to live directly and consciously for the purpose of advancement. That the soul, that the human consciousness, the ego, the I, is in control of this subconscious, in control of this body, this unconscious mind. That our mind works separate, that the conscious mind works separate from the subconscious mind, but yet they're connected and they work as one. It's like as a soul, we've been given a free ride. and to experience this life and to live through life and to create the things that we want to create in this life. Well, riding on the back of this giant that maintains our own heartbeat, that maintains its own life so that this life can advance and have more life. These phases of development in mind and body may all be promoted by training the life of the individual to live directly and consciously for the purpose of advancement. The various elements and forces of the human system are governed by the actions of consciousness. Therefore, when conscious life gives its whole life to the action of continuous advancement, everything in the human system will do the same. The entire system in general and every part of the system in particular will advance, and to advance always is to stay young, always. To train the individual life to live for the purpose of continuous advancement, the leading essential is to establish the conscious desire to employ all the energies of the system for the promotion of the renewing process and the growing process. It is not sufficient to simply renew the system. The system must be elevated to a more perfect state of being every time that it is renewed. And that elevation into a higher state of being is done through consciousness. It's done through our thoughts. It's done through our awareness. It's done through the mind. And when the growing process and the renewing process are perfectly combined, the personality will continue to stay young and will continue to express life in youth upon higher and higher planes of being. The result will be a life that is thoroughly worthwhile. Such a life will continue to enrich itself from every imaginable source, and through the perpetuation of youth will have the power to enjoy those real riches in an ever-increasing measure. The desire to employ all the energy of the system for the promotion of the growing process and the renewing process may be established by constantly giving conscious recognition to the existence of those processes and to the fact that men may, through the promotion of those two processes, reach any worthy goal that he may have in view. Through the promotion of these two processes, through the melding of body and mind, to the congruence in function of his body and his mind. And he may reach any worthy goal that he may have in view. The mind is so constituted that it will naturally develop the desire to do that which it is constantly recognized as the real secret to its goal in view. And when this real secret is known to be the law upon which the very purpose of life is based, the desire in question will develop into a far greater strength in much less time. To promote continuous advancement is the purpose of life. Therefore, to constantly recognize this purpose is the secret of every worthy goal in view, is to place the mind in harmony with those laws in life that have the power to reach any worthy goal in view. And when the mind is placed in touch with the power that can, it immediately gains the desire to do what this power can do, for he brings his mind into unity, into correct thinking with the laws of nature, with God, with the universe, with the all-mind, with the infinite consciousness, with everything that has the substance that has created everything. You know, in this presence is here with me now, and this presence is here with you now as you sit here and watch this video with us, going over this information on how our mind works. That we live and move and have our being in a cosmic life, God, energy that pours itself down and gives life to all other life. To be satisfied with the present is to cause inactivity in one or all phases of the mind. Hold on, I skipped a paragraph. When the mind gains this desire, there will be no satisfaction in the mere gain of that which has previously been held in view. Satisfaction does not come to the mind through a gain of things, but through the continuous advancement of life towards greater and greater things. Such a mind gains, quote, the greatest joy of all joys, the joy of going on, end quote. To be satisfied with the present is to cause an activity in one or all of the phases of mind, and when action and growth are on the wane, age invariably begins. To perpetuate youth, the mind must find its satisfaction, its contentment, and its joy in nothing less than continuous advancement towards the larger, the greater, and the superior. The mind must be trained to be satisfied only when it is moving forward, and every mind that is placed in harmony with the fundamental purpose of life will never cease to move forward. To gain the greatest good and the greatest joy from that which we possess of now, it is necessary to advance now. The mind that is inactive enjoys nothing, appropriates nothing, even though it may be surrounded by the greatest riches that the world can produce. It is the growing mind that appropriates the richness of life, and the mind gains enjoyment only from that which it has appropriated. The growing mind is the advancing mind. Therefore, to be contented and happy now, it is necessary to advance now. And to continue to advance is to continue to stay young, because a human being was born, created, and put on this planet to grow and to advance into a higher state of consciousness, a higher state of being. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this chapter with me. That's the end of chapter 12 of Live for the Purpose of Advancement, Attainment, and Achievement. For we know that the advancing life and the advancing man and the person that knows that they are advancing is the happy person, because they know they're getting closer and closer every day to the person who they know one day they're going to be. So with that being said, again, Mr. Corey is signing back into his computer. And if you really enjoy these videos, please subscribe and please share. You know, we're on a mission to not only working on ourselves, but we want to inspire you as well. You know, we have a lot of videos up on here, videos that we've taken a few years ago. You know, things change a lot, and you get to see the process somebody goes through, and the changes they make in the process of growth, and the changes that they make within their own process of thinking. You know, there's no greater joy, or there's no better inspiration to see how much somebody grows in their mind. You know, training is training is definitely up there. It's pretty exciting when you see your client just absolutely look phenomenal after months and months of hard work, and seeing him get the results. That's a lot of fun, and that's amazing, and that brings a lot of fulfillment. But, you know, seeing somebody grow in their consciousness also brings a lot of fulfillment, because we know that regardless of our states, you know, our physique or where our body is or how we look, none of that really matters if this isn't strong, if this isn't up to par, and if this doesn't understand. So with that, all that being said, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you when I see you.